A young boy, barely 16, stands at the foot of Kama Slope, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. His name is Musashi, and today marks the beginning of a journey that will forge him into Japan's most legendary swordsman. The year is 1599, a time when Japan teeters on the edge of monumental change. As Musashi takes his first steps up the rugged slope, he leaves behind the comfort of home to embrace the harsh life of a shugyosha, a wandering warrior, relentlessly pursuing mastery in the martial arts. His belongings are sparse: the clothes on his back, a small sewing kit, a bamboo canteen, and the sword at his side. These few belongings would become his entire world for years to come. In straw sandals that frequently need repair, Musashi treads the rugged mountain paths. His sword's weight is a constant reminder of his purpose, all while the sun beats down on him without mercy. The journey is grueling. Food is never guaranteed, and comfort is a distant memory. The mountains present their trials. Some believe these dark peaks to be home to mischievous spirits, while the threat of bandits is all too real, yet Musashi presses on. He's driven by a deep hunger to test his skills and temper his spirit in the crucible of combat. His first true test arrives in the spring of 1599, as he enters the neighboring province of Tajima. Here he crosses paths with a swordsman named Akiyama. Little is known about Akiyama or the specifics of their duel, but one fact remains clear: Musashi emerged victorious. This brief encounter, seemingly insignificant at the time, leaves a lasting impression on the young warrior. Years later, as he reflects from the solitude of Raigen Cave, this fight stands out among the 60-odd duels he would go on to fight. Unaware of the monumental moment ahead, Musashi continues his solitary journey. To the north and east of Tajima, on the plains of Sekigahara, a storm is brewing. Warriors from across the land are converging, drawn by the looming battle that will shape Japan's future for centuries to come. To understand the world Musashi is unknowingly stepping into, we must look back. Japan, for decades, had been fractured and torn apart by the ineffective rule of the Ashikaga shogunate. But two men rose to reunify the country. First was Oda Nobunaga, a military genius who nearly unified Japan through sheer force. However, in 1582, fate intervened, and Nobunaga was assassinated by one of his generals, Akechi Mitsuhide. From Nobunaga's legacy emerged Toyotomi Hideyoshi, another brilliant general who succeeded in unifying Japan. Hideyoshi, of humble origins, crushed the rebellion that claimed Nobunaga's life and brought the nation to the brink of total unification. But his rule was short-lived, cut down possibly by illness. Before his death, Hideyoshi appointed a council of 5 senior ministers, or tairo, to govern until his young son, Hideyori, came of age. He hoped that the Toyotomi clan would continue to rule Japan, but one of these ministers, Tokugawa Ieyasu, had other ambitions. As 1600 dawns, Japan is divided into 2 factions. On one side, the Western forces, loyal to the Toyotomi clan, mostly from Western Japan and the Kansai region. On the other, the Eastern forces, backing Tokugawa Ieyasu, primarily from the Kanto region. Tensions between these two sides are about to explode, with Sekigahara as the main battleground. As Musashi hones his skills through duels and rigorous training, he unwittingly heads towards this crucible of Japanese history. On October 21st, 1600, the mist hangs heavy over Sekigahara as 2 massive armies face each other. The forces are evenly matched, with about 80,000 men on each side. As the battle commences, Musashi, now 17, finds himself in the chaos, fighting alongside the Shinmen clan, who are allied with the Western forces under Ukita Hidaye. Why did Musashi choose this side? Perhaps it was his family's ties to the Shinmen through his mother. Or maybe he was inspired by Toyotomi Hideyoshi's rise from peasant to ruler. The battle rages from dawn until the hour of the sheep, between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. As the hours wear on, the tide turns against the Western forces. Some generals, sensing the shift, betray their allies and switch sides. The Tokugawa armies begin to gain the upper hand. By day's end, the Western forces are in full retreat, their hopes of maintaining Toyotomi rule crushed on the blood-soaked fields of Sekigahara. The aftermath is brutal. Tens of thousands lie dead or dying. Many of the defeated, who survive the battle, are hunted down in the days and weeks that follow, slaughtered as they try to flee. Yet somehow Musashi escapes. For him, the Battle of Sekigahara was more than just a clash of armies. It was a test of everything he had learned. As a shugyosha, he had borrowed the battlefield to prove his worth and prove it he did. His actions in the battle would be remembered long after the dust had settled. But with the Western forces defeated, Musashi finds himself once more alone, a ronin, a masterless samurai. At 17, he has gambled on war and lost, narrowly escaping with his life. Yet he has gained something invaluable, the experience of a major battle, the pride of having fought honorably, and a burgeoning reputation for extraordinary skill and bravery. As Musashi leaves the battlefield, he carries with him memories and insights that will shape his understanding of strategy and combat for the rest of his life. Many of the lessons he learned at Sekigahara will later find their way into his writings, particularly in The Book of Five Rings. But for now, Musashi must navigate a Japan irrevocably altered by the battle. The Tokugawa victory at Sekigahara marks the dawn of a new era, a shogunate that will rule Japan for the next 2.5 centuries. For those who fought on the losing side, like Musashi, the future is uncertain and fraught with danger. In the years following Sekigahara, Musashi keeps a low profile, as do many survivors from the losing side. He retreats to the mountains, honing his skills in solitude, yet continues to travel, meeting other wandering warriors and testing his abilities. This period, though shrouded in mystery, is vital to his development. In each town, with each encounter, he learns something new, refining his technique and deepening his understanding of the sword's way. Musashi's training during this time must have been relentless, almost otherworldly in its intensity. How else can we explain what happens in 1604, when Musashi, now 21, arrives in Kyoto and challenges one of the most esteemed schools of swordsmanship, the Yoshioka school? They accept, likely underestimating the young stranger. To everyone's shock, Musashi defeats their best fighters, one by one. His unorthodox style, honed through years of solitary training and real combat, proves too unpredictable for the more traditional techniques of the established school. These victories in Kyoto mark a turning point. Musashi is no longer an anonymous wanderer. His name begins to echo across Japan, and his reputation grows with each passing year. But this is just the beginning of Musashi's journey. As we leave him in Kyoto, his future stretches out before him, filled with more duels, more battles, and eventually the wisdom that will make him not just a legendary swordsman, but a philosopher of the martial arts. In many ways, Musashi's journey reflects that of Japan itself, a transition from a land ravaged by constant warfare to a nation seeking peace and enlightenment. And so, as the sun sets over Kyoto, casting long shadows across the temples and gardens, we bid farewell to young Musashi. His journey is far from over, but already he has carved his name into the annals of history. From that first step on Kama Slope to his triumphs in Kyoto, Musashi has shown us the power of unwavering dedication and the indomitable strength of the human spirit.